by the England World Cup squad was matched only by the very moderate success of the team itself in Spain. But never ones to be downhearted, the team have come back with their follow-up single, optimistically entitled Next Time.
Next time around, next time around, next time around we'll get it right. Next time around we'll win the fight. Next time around we'll win the World Cup, or at least we might. Next time we'll win, next time we'll win. Next time we're really gonna win. Next time we're gonna win for sure. We'll beat the Italians and we'll beat the Germans. At least we'll force a draw. England! England!
And now Francis. He's found Mariner. To Francis. Mariner again. Back to Francis. Come on, goal kick.
We'll bring something back. If not the trophy, at least some duty free. We will win or lose with pride. Lose with pride. The love of sports in our souls. In our souls. And we'll respect our opposition. They goes what's or balls. England's the best in the world. We are second to none. We'll be the best and stop the rest. We'll be headline news, headline news, headline news, headline news. At least until we lose. Olé!
Welcome back. And a quick apology now from our traffic department for an incorrect announcement made during the last show due to a slight typing error. The message should have read that due to industrial action there'll be no buses running tomorrow morning in the city centre, and not, as was announced, due to industrial action there'll be no busy ranging to Maxjiff in Ducati Sintrad. Sorry about that.
Now it's time for Radioactive's commercial time. Commercial time.
Do you suffer from the oldest social problem in the world? Then you'll know what it's like to have bad breath. But now your problem days are over with new Quilly's lozenges. Teenager Judy Stench tells how they changed her life.
Well, I never used to have much of a social life. All the boys would ignore me. And at parties, sometimes I'd just feel unwanted.
What a marvellous evening. I could stay here all night. Absolutely delightful.
Hello, everyone. Then one day a close friend told me what the problem was.
You've got bad breath, love.
Well, eventually, in desperation, I went to the chemist to ask his advice. Morning, Mr. Turner.
Oh, Judy, nice to see you. Hang on a minute. Yes. Now, what can I do for you?
I told him what the problem was, and he suggested I try new Quillies immediately.
I suggest you try new Quillies immediately. Here, have a free packet or two, or half a dozen, maybe. In fact, have the whole bloody lot.
Well, needless to say, Quillies changed everything. Now I have a different date. Every night.
Yes, why don't you take Judy's advice? If you feel down in the mouth...
Suck Quillies, they make your mouth feel great.
But before you go out in the morning, stick Quillies in your pocket.
Great.
Out now on CBS Records, Bob Dylan's tribute to Bucks Fizz. Bob Dylan, whose own records have been selling very badly indeed, recently pays tribute to a group who have been doing noticeably better.
Run for the sun, little one. You're an outlaw once again. In the land of make-believe.
From the man who brought you classic hits of the 60s, such as Blowing in the Wind and Like a Rolling Stone, now comes a collection of classics of the 80s.
Well, I know it sounds funny, but I don't wanna be in love. Just want a piece of action.
A hit package including The Land of Make-Believe, One of Those Nights, Making Your Mind Up, Dancing Queen, no, sorry, that's ABBA. One of Us, no, sorry, that's ABBA. Save Your Kisses for Me, no, sorry, that's the Brotherhood of Man. Anyway, a lot of great songs from the man who changed the face of the 60s, a tribute to the new faces of the 80s, and also on the same great LP, Leonard Cohen sings Tight Fit.
It's several minutes past exactly here on Radioactive, which means that it's time, as usual, for this week's look at what's happening locally across the nation. What's going on?
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I said, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Right now, here's our resident theatre critic, Sebastian Wally, who's here with this week's appraisal of one of the plays currently running locally. Sebastian, how was the play you saw tonight?
Ebullient.
Sorry?
Ebullient, really. And quite incandescent.
Good. You enjoyed it?
Oh, yes. Quite decadent. Quite recherché.
How was the acting?
Purist, fundamentally, but altogether more subliminally forthright than one expected.
Yes. And the staging?
Kantian, really. Really quite breathtakingly despotic.
Good. Well, many thanks, Sebastian. And if you'd like tickets to see that show, that's Sooty's Magic Wonder Show, they're available from the box office. We go over live now to the Theatre Royal.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second evening of the Royal Shakespeare Company's production of David Copperfield. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the part of Mr. Micawber will tonight be taken by Christopher Lillicrap and not, as stated in the programme, by Sir Ralph Richardson. The part of young Copperfield, which was to have been played by Christopher Lillicrap, will now be taken by Thomas Harpy. And the part of Mr. Dick, also to be played by Christopher Lillicrap, will be played by Harold Larson. The part of the young lunatic in the programme to be played by Harold Larson will be taken by Tamara Spriggs, whose roles as Frida, Agnes, second young lunatic, Miss Picknose, first nun, daft prostitute, and back end of pantomime cow will be taken by Jim Burke. And Mr. Burke's part as dead man on battlefield will be taken by the late George Highbury, whose unexpected demise has caused tonight's changes. We are, however, pleased to announce that George Friend is much better than expected, so the part of second dead man on battlefield, which was to have been played by the late George Friend, will now be played by a couple of cushions and a bag of potatoes. Mr. Highbury's performance in the role of Monsieur Petitcoq will be played by Carl Froggatt, who is down in the programme to play the role of Tiny Toby. The role of Tiny Toby will be played by Spot. The role of Rover, which was to have been played by Spot, will be played instead by Shep. Shep's original role as rabid dog in company of second daft prostitute will tonight be omitted from the performance and replaced by the pre-recorded sound of a dog barking. The part of small Jewish man by the roadside on the approach to Broadstairs will be played by a small Jewish man we found by the roadside on the approach to Broadstairs when we were last there. The guitar will be played by Eric Clapton. Well, there can be very few artists who have stayed the course from the 60s to the present day. Cliff Richard, The Who, The Stones, perhaps.
Paul McCartney.
Genesis.
Pink Floyd, The Beach Boys.
Well, quite a few, in fact. And Among them are the popular American duo, recently reformed, Hyman and Carbuncle.
I met my old partner on Fifth Avenue, and when I asked him how he was, he said the pits. He'd been reduced to selling on street corners, the 49th edition of our greatest hits. So we ate ourselves some bagels, chewed over our careers, but things hadn't changed, no. We're still lazy after all these years. They got a wall near Scotland, it's 70 miles long. That is an indisputable fact, but nothing at all to do with this song. Our lawyers held a meeting out on Brooklyn Bridge, and they agreed that we could go back out on tour. And though the shows themselves were only average, and the songs we premiered were frankly poor, still we made ourselves $1 million, and we paid off our arrears. We haven't changed, no. We're still greedy after all these years. After all these years. There must be 50 ways to make $1 million, and we know every goddamn one.
Welcome back. And on the subject of celebrations and festivities, a reminder that next Tuesday, Radioactive will be 6 years old.
Happy, happy, happy birthday, happy, happy, happy birthday, happy, happy, happy birthday, happy birthday to us.
And to celebrate that fact, throughout the day on Tuesday, each and every one of the Radioactive disc jockeys will be out and about getting very pissed. So, there'll be no programmes broadcast until Wednesday morning. OK, now on Radioactive, it's time for our weekly Playhouse presentation. This week, an extract from Return to Slovenly Manor, an Edwardian drawing room drama, in which Sir John Pym plays Gerald, Sir Gerald Pym plays John, and Radioactive Studio 4 plays the drawing room.
Gerald, come hither, my son. I wish to speak with you.
What is it, Father?
It concerns your Aunt Alice, son.
I didn't know I had an Aunt Alice, son, Father.
Your Aunt Alice, boy.
Oh, how is Aunt Alice, Father?
Aunt Alice's father is dead. He died several years ago. I thought you knew that.
Yes, Father, but how is Aunt Alice?
The news is that she is not so well.
Not so well as her father?
No, boy, she is in better health than her father.
Oh, joy, what gladsome news.
No, boy, the news is... The news is not so gladsome, for she is not so well.
Ah, not so well.
Indeed.
Then what ails her father?
Her father is dead, I have just said this.
No, what ails Aunt Alice, Father?
It is said she has an illness.
How so?
How so?
How so this illness?
How so this illness? What are you talking about?
This illness, what is it?
Why, it is when the body suffers from a disease of some sort. Men call it illness.
But what is this illness that ails Aunt Alice, Father?
The illness that ails Aunt Alice, Father, is death, as I have already said.
And Aunt Alice?
The illness which Aunt Alice has is unknown.
Then I must leave you, Father.
But what about Aunt Gladys?
What?
Your Aunt Gladys, too, is ill.
And what is the matter with Aunt Gladys, Father?
Nothing, he's very well.
Oh, shut up.
The time is fair whizzing by here on Radioactive. So without further ado, let's welcome our two contestants for this week's Master Quiz. And they are Dr. John Milestone, a lecturer in Hegelian philosophy at Glasgow Polytechnic, and Mr. Douglas Thanet, headmaster of Marlborough Public School and expert ornithologist. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And the first question goes to you, Doctor, and your choice of categories are history or modern music.
History, please.
Wise choice, I think. In what year did Kate Bush release her first single?
Who?
Kate Bush, her first single. I'll have to hurry you.
No idea.
No, 1978 was the answer. Surprised you didn't get that one. Very big hit for her. Mr. Thanet, your categories are geography or modern music.
Geography.
Very well. What famous European city, well known for its manufacture and export of jute and chemical fertilizer, occurs in the title of an early Beatles album? What? Early Beatles album. European city?
Paris?
No, very close. It was, in fact, Hamburg. Live at Hamburg. You were doubtless confusing it with Supertramp live in Paris. Doctor, back to you. Astrophysics or modern music?
Astrophysics?
The new Soviet DN-51 fighter aircraft is able to fly at over 1,800 miles per hour due to a new form of propulsion.
Yes.
Who was the last British pop singer to tour Russia? What? The last British singer to tour the Soviet Union? No. Well, it was, of course, Elton John. Never mind, no points to you. Well, the score is currently level, so it's neck and neck, still anyone's game. And, of course, time for the tiebreaker question. First one to answer correctly gets it, and the category chosen randomly by our computer is modern music. Which celebrated British pop group did the late Keith Moon play for?
Who?
Is the right answer.
You'll never be the same after you've seen The Basement. Where Nightmares in the Basement begins. The most terrifying motion picture experience of all time. You'll never be the same after you've seen The Basement. The motion picture guaranteed to make your voice go deeper. It's true. I saw The Basement. My voice is deeper than it's ever been before. The basement did it to me. The basement will do it to you. It's true.
I saw The Basement with him, and my voice is deeper than it's ever been before. I don't mind, but I'm his mother.
Hello, Mary.
Hello, June.
And how's little Trevor?
Well, quite a handful. I'm forever changing his nappies.
Why is that, Mary?
Because they keep getting wet, June.
Why is that?
Because little Trevor keeps piddling in them, June.
Oh, yes.
And my hands keep getting wet, too.
Well, you need new nappy blot.
New nappy blot?
Yes. Unlike ordinary nappies, new nappy blot doesn't let the wetness through because it's super absorbent, so it keeps your hands nice and dry and means less work.
Nappy blot keeps the wetness in and keeps your hands dry.
Hello, Mary.
Oh, hello, June.
Did you try new nappy blot?
Oh, yes, I did, Mary. They really are super absorbent. Now my hands seem nice and dry, and I haven't had to change little Trevor's nappy for a month. one thing, June.
What, Mary?
He's getting a little heavy to lift up.
Over the years, Radioactive has done its bit for underprivileged kids by organising adventure holidays. Many of you, I'm sure, heard about last year's recreation of the voyage of Magellan, when we got 50 children out of foster homes, took their clothes away, dressed them up as 16th century Portuguese sailors, and sent them off on their own round the world. And great fun. Well, our intrepid Mike Hunt arranged this year's adventure holiday, and Mike Flex talked to him earlier this week.
Mike, I gather this year's holiday is pretty exciting.
Yes, Mike. This year we've given 25 deprived East End kids the opportunity to recreate the journey of a famous explorer.
Marvellous.
And we've called it Operation Scott. After Captain Scott, the Antarctic explorer, whose journey they are recreating.
And they're following it pretty faithfully, are they, Mike?
Yes, Mike, following it faithfully right through to the end, and really is a marvellous break for these deprived kids, many of whom didn't even have a pair of shoes to their name when we left.
And they're on their way now, are they?
Yes, Mike, and it really was a very impressive sight, I can tell you. 25 barefooted East End kids setting out across the Antarctic waste.
I'm sure. Well, what did they take with them?
Well, several of them were carrying buckets and spades.
Buckets and spades?
Yes, well, we kept our exact destination a secret, you see, and I think a few of them thought we were going to Margate.
Did they have anything else with them? Tents, sledges?
Yes, they each had a packet of sandwiches, provided free by the station, incidentally.
Smashing.
And all of them were wearing radioactive T-shirts.
And they were free as well, were they, Mike?
Absolutely free, yes. And, you know, it's the first time many of these kids have been abroad, and for some, who knows, it may well turn out to be the last. What an emotional farewell it was. I remember one kid just wouldn't let go of my overcoat.
Well, I expect he wanted to wear it, Mike.
Yes, well, I dare say he did.
Well, Mike, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I have just heard that this is in fact going to be the last radioactive adventure holiday.
Oh dear, any idea why, Mike?
Something to do with the International Court of Human Rights, I believe, Mike.
Finally, a look at one of the happier stories of the day.
Winwan, the female panda, arrived all the way from China to be mated with our very own Wang Wang. The two were introduced as crowds of laughing schoolchildren applauded.
As Wang Wang broke out of the cage and killed 10 of them before being destroyed.
So that's it from us.
Join us next week at the slightly later time of 4 o'clock in the morning.
This is a product of BBC Records, and as such should have reached you in perfect condition. If, however, you have found any fault with this album, please do not hesitate to write to this address for your refund. Fulham Place, London, W1. Write to this address for your refund. Fulham Place, W1A. London 1A.